One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report and paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Well, isn't it a beautiful hump day morning? Hopefully everyone's enjoying their freaking morning so far. I know we are. Yes, sir. Good to see everyone. We got a lot to discuss. Obviously, a lot of things are happening around the world, man. Obviously, here in the United States in particular, regarding the Iranian arrests. These were Iranian nationals here in the United States. And as fears spike of sleeper cell concerns. So we're going to be getting into a whole bunch of that, as well as the White House denies early report on U.S. strikes, setting back Iran's nuclear program, as well as more ICE ordeals. And then Trump discredits U.S. intelligence report during NATO questions on Iran as well. So we've got all these queued up ready to go. But before we do, obviously, you guys got to come in and hit that like button. Helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. If you guys are also new to the channel, man, hit that subscribe button because it's also free. Please consider becoming a member starting at $2.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is exactly how we get to speak the way that we do, and we never have to cater to views to make money on YouTube. We're 100% funded by the Breakfast Club. So big W to you guys, man. Little side note, follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show and Millennial Food Time. And we continue to break news over there on the Instagram side of things as well. It's been something that I've been doing quite a bit. So make sure you follow the breaking news over there as well. And last but not least, of course, every super chat, super sticker, gifted membership signups, all these things are, of course, going to be read out and shouted out live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they do, man, we have these platforms that you guys can donate to. And of course, I will read your donation over there. And I have it queued up, ready to go to make sure that I'm not skipping, or I've got it ready. You know, I'm not getting to your guys' donations late or anything like that. But we got Straight Jacket up at the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far. Why are you geek? We got Glare 1%er as well. Good to see you as well. We got Naomi throwing the Discord link out there, by the way. Yes, if you guys haven't joined into the Discord, make sure that you guys do, because this is where we continue the conversation after the show's been over or finished, and another place that we get to go ahead and hang out, play Call of Duty, show funny-ass memes, all sorts of shit. Papa Penguin, my man, good to see you as well. We got A2Z, Carney's Ride, my man. Rabbit of Chaos, good morning to you. Tiffany Lance, good morning to you as well. Hopefully you're enjoying your hump day. We got Chase. Mr. Chase up in the building. Hopefully you're doing fantastic, kind sir. Good to see you as well, man. It's been a minute. We got Steve Posey as well. Saying morning, Mike. Naomi, Stevie, Todd. Hey, man, showing love to all the homies. That explains why I be humping on hump day. Shit, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, shit.
It's wow, whip them out Wednesday. That's a W comment. I like that. What's today? Oh, it's wow. It's wow day, dude. whip them out Wednesday, dude. I like that. I'm going to get down with that. I might steal that. Yes, sir. Freedom is always good. Yes, sir. Good to see you. Thank you guys as well for considering hitting up the Cash App, the Venmo, the PayPal. I very much appreciate that as well. I've got it queued up, ready to go. Let's see who else we've got in here real quick. We got the Panelverse. Good morning to you as well. The Discord is where I post my hot yoga and and Jungle Bridge waxing videos. That's brutal, dude. Brutal. Oh, shit. But yeah, join up if you guys want to check that out. We got Brother Slim as well. Good morning to you, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning. And all right, looks like I am pretty much all caught up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and bring up the what's happening right now. So we're going to go ahead and cue this up. This is 15 hours ago. Okay, I wanted to be fully transparent. We have this one that's 15 hours ago. The White House denies on the report of strikes setting back Iran's nuclear program is 12 hours ago. Then the ICE arrests, the update on the ICE arrests of the Iranian nationals and the sleeper cells is 5 hours ago. And then Trump discrediting U.S. intelligence over there in NATO was 3 hours ago. So we have everything pretty much in chronological order ready to go. So let's run this.
I want to show you this.
This one's a quick one, only 2 minutes.
Vantage point that we have there in St. Paul. We do know that a man who was was among 11 Iranian nationals who were arrested by ICE this past weekend. This, of course, following an American strike on Iranian nuclear sites. And to bring into the conversation now our partners there at Fox 9, I want to bring in Soo-Young Kim with Fox 9 there in Minneapolis. She has much more on this. Soo-Young, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox.
She looks way interesting. Look at that. You can't tell when her eyes are open or closed. You know what I mean? She
has much more on this.
She looks interesting.
Soo-Young, thanks so much for being with us here on
Real quick, we got Tats over there across the pond over there in the UK. Good to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying your afternoon so far. Good to see you.
Now from Fox, what else can you tell us about this arrest that was made?
Well, Christina, the Department of Homeland Security says ICE arrested, like you mentioned, an Iranian national on Sunday here in St. Paul. Here's what we do know. DHS officials say 56-year-old Mehran Makari Saheli was ordered.
I'm going to be honest. Put the hair in front of your ear. But you're going to need to cover that ear. You know what I mean? I don't know why nobody's telling her this.
To be removed from the U.S. in 2022, but say he remained in the U.S. illegally. Federal officials also say he had been previously convicted of being a felon in possession of a firearm in Minneapolis.
What up, Are We Not Man? Good to see you.
Was sentenced to 15 months in prison. DHS says he's a former member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and says he has admitted connection to Hezbollah, which is a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization. And for
admitted connections to Hezbollah. Holy shit. So he's a former member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, with admitted connections to Hezbollah.
For now, he remains in ICE custody pending his removal from this country. Christina, back to you.
I have to ask you before I let you go, Soo-Young.
Miss Lotus, good morning to you. Good to see you as well.
We're following this case. We know that there's a very diverse neighborhoods there in the St. Paul area as well as Minneapolis. Have you heard from any other local leaders responding to this arrest? Anything from them?
And not specifically to this arrest, but there has been a lot of backlash, a lot of discussion from both sides here as those ICE raids continue across the country.
All right. We certainly appreciate Soo-Young.
It's all right, Chase. Between me and you, we definitely are on the struggle bus. You know, like your spelling sucks and I'm very illiterate. So the combination is just fucked. Make sure you guys hit the like button. I very much appreciate that. Helps out the show immensely and it's free. It's the #1 metric of all YouTube. I very much appreciate your laborious work on the like button. All right, so let's go ahead and move it on over. That was quick. Here goes regarding the White House. Let's go ahead and pull this up momentarily. Boom.
Speaking of the conflict there, we have a live picture in Jerusalem. Take a look at that. Well, as you know, the ceasefire holds barely between Israel and Iran. We'll talk about the parameters of the ceasefire, what conditions were achieved to get this on the books by President Trump, if any. And then, of course, some of these reports coming out confirmed by the Associated Press, the New York Times here at Fox, also first reported by CNN, about this low-competence intelligence assessment from the Defense Intelligence Agency that was saying the opposite, that those bunker buster bombs did not completely obliterate those 3 Iranian nuclear sites and thus subsequently destroying the nuclear program. We'll be teasing out some of those facets of this intelligence assessment and the reporting out there. But first, I want to rely on our colleague, Chief Foreign Correspondent for Fox, Trey Yanks. He has a look at how the ceasefire is doing. Let's watch.
The rubble of an apartment complex in southern Israel.
So we reported on this the day after the ceasefire. We reported on it right after.
Building took a direct hit from an Iranian missile early this morning.
Yo, Papa Penguin with the $1 freaking dues being paid on the super sticker, man. I very much appreciate you, kind sir, making it rain in the chat. Yes, sir. Big W.
Killing 4 people and wounding 26 others.
I feel okay, but this is the reality, and we will continue to live with it.
90 minutes before the ceasefire went into effect, Iran launched 6 waves of missiles. The IDF says the majority were intercepted. Later on, Iran fired another missile, according to the Israelis, who then responded with a single strike against an Iranian radar system outside the capital of Tehran. With the ceasefire underway, Israel has now lifted all restrictions on civilians, allowing them to return to work.
Yo, what's up, Prez? Hopefully you're enjoying your hump day morning so far. I know that we all definitely are. We got what is that, March? Uma. What up, Uma? Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well. Good to see you in here and hanging out with us.
And school tomorrow.
This morning, it can be said that the IDF fully met all the objectives defined in Operation Rising Lion. The Chief of Staff instructed the IDF to maintain a high level of alertness and readiness for a powerful response to any violation of the ceasefire.
A regional diplomatic source tells Fox News that the deal was reached at the highest level with direct coordination between President Trump and the Emir of Qatar. Iranian officials have echoed a similar level of readiness in case the current agreement collapses in the days ahead.
We warn America and the Zionist regime of the crushing blows of the brave Islamic fighters from the north to the south of the occupied territories and of the strike on the American base in Al Udeid, which should serve as a lesson. Otherwise, in the next phase, they will face an even more powerful.
He looks pissed.
Response.
Just saying.
Emotional damage.
Just a little bit.
With broader targets already designated.
In Tel Aviv, Trey Yanks, Fox News.
Trey, thanks so much. I want to bring into the conversation Executive Director of the Foundation for Defense of Democracy, our colleague and friend there, Jonathan Schanzer. He joins me. Jonathan, thanks for being with us here. I know you've been tweeting about this after some of these reports surfaced, first by CNN and then confirmed by Reuters and the AP. Reuters has it as follows. They say...
Real quick, we got Are We Not Men sending in for 7 months, by the way, saying support the channel. Get those donos in, fuckers. Yes, sir. My man, I very much appreciate the 7 months. Appreciate your patronage to the channel and hanging out with us.
A preliminary U.S. intelligence assessment has determined that U.S. strikes over the weekend on Iranian nuclear facilities have set back Tehran program by only a matter of months. That's according to 3 sources to Reuters, that the initial report was prepared by the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Pentagon's main intelligence arm, and one of 18 U.S. intelligence agencies, according to 2 of the sources who requested anonymity here. This is being described as a low-confidence intelligence assessment here. What's going on? President Trump, Secretary Hegseth, and others say there's no way Iran can restart their nuclear program. The Defense Intelligence Agency disagreeing. Why?
All right, well, first, let's just note that when you start seeing leaked intelligence and interim assessments, it's politicized. Somebody has an agenda, and I don't know what that agenda is, but I don't think that we should be looking at this one assessment as the only assessment, right? There is this battle damage assessment that we've all been waiting for. There was the first one that came out, something like 12 hours after the initial attack, and we saw Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, alongside his generals, talking about what they thought was achieved in these strikes. There should be a couple of revisions over time, and I think what we will see from the DIA will be integrated into whatever that final assessment ultimately ends up looking like. Now, as for the
Freedom Doritos. Oh my God, dude. Fucking W.
Program itself. Let's just review what's gone on here. I mean, the Israelis destroyed a massive amount of above ground infrastructure relating to the nuclear program. On top of that, we know that the Israelis assassinated no less than 14 nuclear scientists, as well as individuals that were involved in the administration of this Iranian nuclear program. Then you have the Trump administration ordering these B-2s to drop the MOPs, the massive ordnance penetrators, these bunker busting weapons on 3 different sites. It's really hard for me to imagine that the Iranians are just going to bounce back from all of this.
Okay.
Now, we do know.
Right. I mean, 14 30,000-pound bombs that go 200 feet underneath reinforced concrete going into their nuclear facilities. Bruh, I can't imagine much of anything surviving.
Know that there were trucks that lined up outside one of the facilities and they may have carried off some of that 60% enriched uranium. That is a scenario that I think.
What's up, Jess? Good to see you this morning for you. I guess it's Thursday morning for you. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning.
Folks are still grappling with. I think that there probably are still some secret facilities that the Iranians never declared, but that should be a good indication of who we're dealing with here. This is a regime that we could never trust and probably necessitated at the end of the day the kind of attacks that the Trump administration carried out and that the Israelis carried out. But I think the last thing that I would just stress here is that the Iranian regime now knows what happens when it engages in this kind of illicit nuclear activity. It will invite the Iranians to get struck by the Israelis, by the United States. And I think what we've watched over the last 12 days is that the Israelis could do so with impunity. The United States could do so with impunity. And I got to think that that is a huge deterrent for the regime. Now, some may say that, well, this is the exact reason why Iran will make a dash for a nuclear weapon. Just say that is a terrible risk right now for the regime if they tried to go down that path.
Oh, they cut him off or what? He lose internet?
Very closely.
Oh, right. He sure did. He sure did. All right, so we got some real quick coming up right here. What is happening here? Let's see.
These reports, Aisha Hasni quote tweets Secretary Hegseth's statement at the Pentagon. He says this, based on everything we've seen, and I've seen it all, our bombing campaign obliterated Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. Our massive bombs hit exactly the right spot at each target and worked perfectly. The impact of those bombs is buried under a mountain of rubble in Iran. So anyone who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president and the successful mission. Caroline Levitt, though, at the White House saying this, fake news CNN strikes again. She says this alleged assessment, in quotes, is flat out wrong. And it was classified as top secret, but was still leaked to CNN by an anonymous, low-level loser in the intelligence community. The leaking of this alleged assessment is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets. Total obliteration. You know, Jonathan, I put the before and after satellite imagery at the Fordow nuclear site there. Let's put this back up. Jennifer Griffin has a little bit more reporting. She, in her reporting, says this assessment was deemed low confidence. That's intelligence parlance. She says it's based on satellite images and signals intelligence obtained since the strike. She says the focus of the report is on the battle damage assessment at Fordow, which we're seeing right now, that the U.S. B-2 MOP bunker buster bombs were able to cave the entrances to the facility, which is built 300 feet underground. She says the entrances are caved in. Some infrastructure was destroyed, according to the assessment, but the overall operations were not destroyed. And they could, quote unquote, dig out and rebuild and repair the power to the facility that powered the centrifuges. She reports this, that according to this assessment, an unknown amount of the highly enriched uranium was moved out of the Fordow facility, to your point, Jonathan. And she says one possibility, according to the DIA assessment.
Yeah, but how easily is it to be able to move enriched uranium or uranium that is weapons grade? Like, can you just throw that in the back of a truck? Is it the size of a barrel? Is it the size of fucking my house? Like, what is it? You know,
is that it was moved to the third site.
I wish I knew these kind of answers, but I don't.
Iranians told the IAEA about ahead of the strikes. That's a secret site. And of course, DIA is one of these 18 U.S. intelligence agencies. So just kind of wanted to flesh this out. To your point, though, Jonathan, if Iranians were to restart their nuclear program, they have to start at square one, don't they? Or no?
I mean, let's put it this way. I don't know how many centrifuges they're going to be able to pull out of Fordow and be able to use. I don't know which scientists are going to work on this program. And I also know that if the Israelis begin to see any activity in or around these sites and they try to start digging out and they try to reconnect it to the grid, you don't think that the Israeli Air Force is going to scramble those F-35s and start doing more damage again? Because the Iranian regime still doesn't have air defenses last time I checked. And last time I checked, the Israelis had flown hundreds of sorties in the sky.
Yo, real quick, we got David, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning. What about those mystery CCP flights just prior to the B-2 strikes? I don't know.
Over Iran.
Good morning, Conjure. Oh, it's doing its
Or
thing.
no air defenses
There we
left
go.
for the regime to use. And so, it's just really hard for me to imagine that in a matter of 2 or 3 months that, the nuclear program is back humming along again. I don't want to say that this is simple, and I don't think that it's an open and shut case. There are things that I think we still need to chase down. Whether the regime was able to carry out that enriched uranium, that seems to me something that we all need to get a handle on right now. And I think it'd be great to try to figure out whether these mobs did everything that they were supposed to do, or whether there's follow-up work that may be needed, whether by the Israelis or by someone else, maybe forces on the ground for that matter. But I don't see this as a failed mission. I think it's very clear that when you look at what the Israelis did.
All right, let me make sure, because we already know what the Israelis did. We know what the United States did. We don't need much more of what he was talking about there. So Prime Minister of Israel puts out, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened the security cabinet last night together with the defense minister, the IDF chief of staff, and director of the Mossad, in order to report that Israel has achieved all of the objectives of Operation Rising Lion and much, much more. Oh, and much more, not much. All right, so that is it on that regard right there. So let's go ahead and move on into the another update regarding the multiple Iranian nationals that were arrested by ICE. I have that queued up right here. This latest report is from 5 hours ago. So let's go ahead and check this out together.
All right, welcome back and Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. A live look at the U.S. Capitol, about 10:45 in the nation's capital, 7:45 out west. Let's cover an interesting story that we heard about today. But over the weekend, ICE agents saying they arrested 11 Iranian foreign nationals in 48 hours. That's according to the Department of Homeland Security. Learning more about this from our partners in Minneapolis, because one of those arrests was made there. Let's get the latest from them in this quick report.
The Department of Homeland Security says U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested 11 Iranian nationals in a 48-hour targeted operation.
Damn, 11 specific.
The arrests spanned multiple states. Here's what we know about the man who was taken into custody in Minnesota. DHS officials say ICE arrested 56-year-old Iranian national Mehran Makari Saheli on Sunday in St. Paul. DHS says he's a
that one specific dude, yes, has ties to Hezbollah and blah, blah, blah. But I want to know what the others have too.
A member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and says he has, quote, admitted connections to Hezbollah, which are U.S. designated foreign terrorist organizations. According to court documents, Saheli was convicted of possessing a fraudulent immigration document in 2009. Then, stemming from that in 2020, court filings show he faced a federal charge for being a felon in possession of a firearm.
Wow.
DHS says he was later sentenced to 15 months
in Minnesota
prison for the weapons charge. Federal officials say in June 2022,
like, what the fuck is he doing in Minnesota?
An immigration judge ordered Saheli be removed from the United States, but say he remained in the country illegally.
Okay, so as they mentioned, 11 total arrested. We've got pictures of 10 of them here via the New York Post. Standing by, we want to welcome in Michael Balboni. He's a former New York Homeland Security advisor. I got to ask you, when we look at pictures of these 10 people, Michael, are these people affiliated with those so-called...
Yo, Steve Easy gets another W comment for the day, dude. What a perfect place for me to pause on when you said that, too. Look at that. Look at that. Shit. All right, back to this.
Sleeper cells that we've been hearing so much about. Is this sleeper cell activity or not? What do we know?
What we know is that over the last couple of years, we've had almost over 10 million individuals come to this country, and we don't know who they are, where they are, what their intentions are. That's really what has changed the landscape of this nation's security, and we see it right now. This follows a traditional pattern that whenever there's conflict in the Middle East, it spans out to other parts of the world. And of course, with Iran having been attacked by the United States to take out their nuclear facilities, this has ratcheted up the rhetoric at the very least. But we also know that there's really good intel that says there's a great capability in country right now. Should the either Iranian affiliated individuals or folks that want to do things on their own, rogue individuals, and certainly from a cybersecurity perspective, the security forces in the United States are really on high alert for a domestic incident.
Listen, I don't give a fuck one way or the other. As long as they're here illegally, that's all I give a fuck about. If they're here illegal, fucking get them out of here, dude. Like, what are you doing here, you know? If you're forging somehow your papers or whatever the fuck, like they were showing earlier with that one dude that has connections to Hezbollah. Well, dude, if you're, get them the fuck out. All of them, if they're illegal, 100%.
Viewers often ask me about the threat of sleeper cells. Two things on that. What are they, is one. And secondly, is there any evidence of Iranian sleeper cells in the U.S.? Hard evidence?
So typically, if you take a look at throughout the years from an intelligence perspective, during the Cold War was when the country was first introduced to the concept of sleeper cell. That was people who were trained in the ways and customs of the United States. They were sent in to create false identities and families, and then hide amongst us, and then get a note that says, "Okay, time to go." And then they would either create havoc or they would try to get documents, secrets. That has now changed in the sense that there's an affiliation with the sponsoring agency, or in this case, Iran, where people come into the country. They go to areas where there's a lot of other Arab, in an Arab community, where they kind of go to ground and mix in. And this is, when you listen to what President Trump has been talking about, he's been using ICE to target not just folks that were here illegally, but folks that are members of gangs, have committed crimes, and pose
motherfucking gangbangers that probably gangbanging here in the States somehow, and then at the same time they have connections over there with some sort of Iranian proxy. Crazy. If they're here illegally, man, get them the fuck out, especially if they're criminals, dude.
The security risk. And so this is
What's
something
up,
that the
13?
White House
Good morning.
is very focused on, though a lot of people are not saying that he should get credit for doing this. But again, think of 10 million people coming to this country. It's a huge security risk.
You've already touched on this, but I'm hoping you can expand. What are the challenges associated with tracking down, finding even sleeper cells? How do you A, find it, B, how do you track the activity?
Typically what happens is that there's surveillance on individuals, that there are folks within a group that the undercover agents, you turn somebody in a group, you get intelligence from them. These are the typical police and security operations that are done to try to infiltrate, find out what's going on in the group. Obviously, surveillance, wiretaps, again, traditional ways of law enforcement to try to find out whether or not people are committing or planning to commit some kind of crime. Those are the same techniques that are used when you are trying to identify folks who might be a part of an agent or agency that's trying to do something in country. It's always very difficult, again, because we don't know how people came in. It's not like there's a date that that they were in this port of call for the United States.
What's up, Bill Hicks? Good to see you in here. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far, as well as OB Joe. Good to see you as well, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their freaking hump day so far. I know that we all are.
And that you can track them from where they went. And if they go to a place like Minnesota, where there's a very large Arab population, there might be an opportunity for them to really go to ground and not be discovered. And so it makes it very, very difficult for not only ICE, but for the FBI. And there's a recent report that says, the FBI is really focusing now, shifting away from just simply going after immigrants who are here illegally to folks that may cause a terrorist threat.
One more thing before we go. What do we know about the quantity of Iranians that enter illegally that are not affiliated with any regime-backed group? No doubt there's people like that.
Just like Iranian refugees?
Enter as well.
Sure. It's very important to think to not think that everybody who came across the border is a terrorist. That's not the case. But I think more important though than that is what are the capabilities? What's the training?
If you're coming across our border illegally, all of you motherfuckers are terrorists. How about that?
Training. What's the trade craft? Like if I'm an intelligence agency that's an enemy of the United States, and I see the fact that there's kind of an open border, I'm definitely going to send in assets. And for nothing else, just to surveil, to find out information and be able to give that back to the folks that want to know what's going on in the United States and possibly exploit vulnerabilities. So that's really the challenge for all security and law enforcement agencies in the United States right now.
Yeah. All right. So we got that out of the way. And now we're going to go ahead and move on into the very last segment of this ordeal that I've got ready for you guys. I'll make sure that by the end of this that there isn't any breaking updates. But of course, anyways, so this is Trump discredits U.S. intelligence report during NATO. And then questions are on Iran, of course. So real quick, got to shout out the homie Bill Hicks becoming a YouTube member, man. I very much appreciate my man. Thank you for that. Goes a long way. Each and every single one of you guys, man. You guys allowed this show to actually happen because we don't have to cater to fucking, views or anything like that to make money here, man. We got you guys that back this channel, man. So I very much appreciate you guys. We got Joseph up in here as well, by the way. Shout out to my man. Stop the cap, he says.
Stop the cap.
That's right. He's up there in Canada. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far. All right, let's go ahead and get into the last segment here. We'll bring this up. Bam. And we'll also speed this up because it is a lengthy segment. If anything is too radically boring or anything, we'll move it ahead, but we should be all right.
They have better seats than I do. Mr. President, what are you telling us about your goals for NATO and Article 5 today? We're with them all the way. I mean, if you take a look at
Can you guys get their fucking microphones, fixed up? What is happening here? Where's the audio engineer, dude?
Numbers, we're with them. And they have very big things to announce today. I don't know if you've taken the vote or you're going to take the vote, but I've been asking them to go up to 5% for a number of years, and they're going up to 5%. That's a big, from 2%. And a lot of people didn't even pay the 2%. So I think it's going to be very big news. NATO is going to become very strong with us. And I appreciate that. Perhaps you want to talk
about absolutely. Let me first, before I go to spending, I just want to recognize your decisive action.
Hey, what's up, Trigger? Good to see you, man.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're a man of strength. You're also a man of peace. And the fact that you are now also successful in getting this ceasefire done between Israel and Iran, I really want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
And I think this is important for the whole world. Then on spending, it's absolutely true. I want to state here, without President Trump, this would not have happened in 3 stages.
Because, yes, we are below the margin of the 5% GDP. Currently, I think we're at 3.9% or something like that, but it equals out to just under $1 trillion a year. $995 billion per year that we give NATO, where we way give more money than anybody else. I think the second highest is Germany, and their total is 90 billion for the year. For us, it's almost a damn fucking trillion. That's 1,000 billion, basically. That's crazy. All right, back to this.
When you became president in 2016, 2017, you forced Europeans and Canadians to pay more. At this moment, the result of that phase is 1 trillion extra aggregate defense spending by the Canadians and the Europeans. Then came phase 2, when you became president in January last year. Phase 2 is that all the countries not yet on 2% have now committed to the 2%. This is the old goal from Wales in 2014. 7 were not on 2%. Some were saying somewhere in the 2030s. Now this year, all of them, including Canada, including Italy, including Belgium, they have all now committed to the 2%. And now comes the big splash. Today, we will decide to go to 5%. We have to keep ourselves safe for our adversaries, but also because it is fair to equalize with the United States. With this 5%, the Europeans and the Canadians will equalize their defense spending with the United States. So this is not about American taxpayers paying more. This is about Europeans.
Canada barely puts in barely anything into NATO.
It's paying more. And again, this would not have happened.
What's up, Justin?
I'm really saying this here.
Good morning.
And some people might criticize me, but then when I speak with them, they all say, yes, you're right. This would not have happened if you would not have been elected in 2016 and re-elected last year and back into office in January. So I want to thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great victory for everybody, I think. And we will be equalized very shortly, and that's the way it has to be. It's going to be a lot of money, too, a lot of defense.
Trillions extra.
Yeah, and we have a great relationship, and we've had a great relationship from the beginning. Highly respected man. And we appreciate you being here too, everybody. We really do. We have a tremendous group of people on my left and a tremendous group of people on my right. They might be even better than my people. Let's have a fight. Let's figure it out. Anyway, but we appreciate it. And we've had a tremendous relationship.
So there's protests amid NATO summit as well over there? What? Oh, shit. They're protesting over there right now.
And we've really worked on this subject for a long time. When Biden was here, it just died like everything else died. And now it's you're going to take, I guess, a vote today, right?
Absolutely. Today we will decide unanimously to do it. That's my absolute conviction.
So we can't talk about it until the vote's
Yeah, European protests. What a joke.
Because sometimes, strange things happen to us, but I think you're going to.
I'm not too worried.
I think you're going to do very well. Everyone's very happy about it. Go ahead. Yes,
Mr. President, how is the Iran-Israel ceasefire going, in your opinion?
I think very good. Israel came back yesterday. I was so proud of them because they came back. They went out because they felt it was a violation, and technically they were right, but it just wouldn't have worked out very well. And they brought the planes back. They had gone on to another journey because there was a little bit of a violation, and I said, "You got to get them back." And they came back, and it was a great thing, and it's going very well.
The
Mr. President,
company-
what is your response to the foreign minister saying he still wants to enrich nuclear?
Hello, Katie. She's so great, this one. Any questions she asks, I'll answer. Well, maybe I better not say it. What was your question?
What is your response to the Iranian foreign minister continuing to say Iran will enrich uranium and pursue nuclear weapons?
Well, I don't know if they've said that, but I'll tell you, the last thing they want to do is enrich anything right now. They want to recover. And we won't let that happen. Number one, militarily, we won't. I think we'll end up having somewhat of a relationship with Iran. I see it. Look, I've had a relationship over the last 4 days. They agreed to the ceasefire. And it was a very...
Listen, people that think that a deal can't be made between the United States and Iran still at this point, you got to understand that they're like first of all, Trump, one thing you can't take away from dude is he knows how to negotiate. The art of the deal, he understands, and every side can understand it. People come to agreements all the time in the middle of warfare. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like you can have something negotiated.
Equal agreement. They both said that's enough. They both said it. But no, they won't do that. The last thing they want to do, Katie, is enrich. They're not looking to...
No, it's actually not Slim. You got to update your side. If you exit out of the video and come back in, it'll probably show that it's at 32, what Naomi says. But thank you guys for hitting that like button. I very much appreciate you guys caring about it and helping out the show and all your laborious work on hitting that like button.
They're not. Can you imagine after all that they're going to say, "Oh, let's go and do a bomb"? There could be a day in the future, and then somebody else taking our place will be saying, "Don't do it," and maybe they won't do it as well. I don't know, but they're not going to have a bomb, and they're not going to enrich. And we believe all of the stuff is down there. We don't think they had nearly the time because to get that out is a very difficult thing. It's not like moving a package or taking this carpet up and moving it. It's very difficult. It's very dangerous to do. We believe it's all down there. We had a tremendous victory, a tremendous hit. And because of that, I don't think they would have been down there because they knew we were coming. When they know we're coming, they're not going to be down to that, 30 stories underground. So, no, I think it was just a tremendous victory for everybody, including Iran. Look, they've got a country and they've got oil and they're very smart people and they can come back. Israel got hit very hard, especially the last couple of days. Israel was hit really hard. Those ballistic missiles, boy, they took out a lot of buildings. And they've been great. Bibi Netanyahu should be very proud of himself. And they've really been great. But they're not going to be building bombs for a long time.
Mr. President, what's your reaction to the intelligence reports saying that the Iranian nuclear sites were only partially devastated, not entirely?
Yeah, well, they said it was actually the report said it could have been they don't know. I mean, they did a report. I could have Pete talk to it because his department did the report. They really don't know. I think Israel's going to be telling us very soon because Bibi is going to have people involved in that whole situation. We hear it was obliteration. It was.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't absolutely know. We haven't seen the pictures or video or anything down there underneath, and you can't tell by a satellite image, So, yeah.
Virtual obliteration. When you take a look at the ground above, don't forget the flame is all underground. But everything above, if you look at the before and the after picture, everything above is burned black. The trees, everything. There's one building, but that's a building that sunk substantially into the granite. So that, the fire goes right over it. I believe it was total obliteration. I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out because we acted fast. If it would have taken 2 weeks, maybe, but it's very hard to remove that kind of material. Very hard and very dangerous for them to remove it. Plus, they knew we were coming. And if they know we're coming, they're not going to be down there. There aren't too many people that are going to be down there. Pete, do you have something to say about that?
Well, Mr. President, when you talk to the people who built the bombs, understand what those bombs can do, and deliver those bombs, they landed precisely where they were supposed to. So it was a flawless mission.
Flawless.
Right down where we knew they needed to enter. And given the...
That's Pete Hegseth, and sitting alongside of him is Marco Rubio over there.
30,000 pounds of explosives and capability of those munitions, it was devastation underneath Fordo. And the amount of munitions, 6 per location, any assessment that tells you it was something otherwise is speculating with other motives. And we know that because when you actually look at the report, by the way, it was a top secret report, it was preliminary. It was low confidence. All right. So this is you make assessments based on what you know.
They said it could be very devastating, very serious.
Moderate to severe, and we believe far more likely severe and obliterated. So this is a political motive here.
Is there a leak investigation?
Of course, we're doing a leak investigation with the FBI right now because this information is for internal purposes, battle damage assessments, and CNN and others are trying to spin it to make the president look bad when this was an overwhelming success.
We had a tremendous success, and this is the New York Times. I call it the failing New York Times. It's going to hell. And CNN, which, as you know, very few people are watching. And you would think they'd do the opposite. You would think they'd want to say, this was an unbelievable success. And the thing that hurts me is it's really demeaning to the pilots and the people that put that whole thing together, the generals. That was a perfect operation. And when you look at the holes, and this was done from 52,000 feet, there was no moon, there was no light, and those 3 holes are right together. And also, and nobody talks about this, we shot 30 Tomahawks from submarines, in particular one submarine, but that was 400 miles away. And every one of those Tomahawks hit within a foot of where they were supposed to hit. Took out a lot of buildings that Israel wasn't able to get. We took them out with Tomahawks. We don't even talk about that. This was a devastating attack, and it knocked them for a loop. And, you know, if it didn't, they wouldn't have settled. If they had won, if we didn't take it out, they wouldn't have settled. Somebody mentioned that to me last night. If that thing wasn't devastated, they would have never settled. Marco, do you have something?
Yeah, no, first of all the stuff about the intelligence, this is what a leaker is telling you the intelligence says. That's the game these people play. They read it, and then they go out and characterize it the way they want it characterized, and they're leakers. This is the game they play. So that's number one. Number two, here's a fact. The conversion facility, which you can't do a nuclear weapon without a conversion facility, we can't even find where it is, where it used to be on the map. You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone. It's wiped out. It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet.
What's up, SNS, my man? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well. Good to see you. Let me go ahead and back this up a little bit. Here we go.
The whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone. It's wiped out. It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet right down the hole in 2 places. Everything underneath that mountain is in bad shape. And I refer you to the statement of the IAEA, Mr. Grossi. You know what he said? He said there was Iran, the way it looked the day before the attack, and what their nuclear program looks like now. 2 very different things. They are way behind where they were just 7 days ago. Now, anything in the world can be rebuilt, but now we know where it is. And if they try to rebuild it, we'll have options there as well. But all this leaker stuff, these leakers are professional stabbers. That's what they are. They go out and they read this stuff, and then they tell you what it says against the law, but they characterize it for you in a way that's absolutely false. There's no...
Real quick, what Naomi just said, if you guys do plan on showing up for the 4th of July weekend over here in the, the Ball Estate, if you guys are planning on coming over and hanging out with us, let us know ASAP so we can kind of get a head count. It's kind of a hard thing to be able to put together. So very much appreciate you guys. Obviously, if you guys are in the Discord, let Naomi know. We do definitely need to get a head count. So real quick, Justin says, I've seen them launch Tomahawk missiles. They are badass. Absolutely, my man. They are.
Boy, Iran comes to the table. Somehow nothing had happened. This was complete.
This is a bit of a heated exchange here. I like this.
Total obliteration. They're in bad shape. They are way behind today compared to where they were just 7 days ago because of what the president did.
Marco, can I just alert you to one other aspect? So the great thing is you took out the nuclear capability of Iran. This was crucial. You did it in a way which is extremely impressive. But the signal sends to the rest of the world that this president, when it comes to it, yes, he's a man of peace, but if necessary, he is willing to use strength. The enormous strength.
It's in Coleman, Alabama. That's where I live. Coleman, Alabama. Check it out.
Of the American military. So I think that signal to the rest of the world, this is far beyond Iran, is extremely important. So that we also point us to that aspect of what happens.
They went down, Iran went down to the site afterwards. They said it's so devastated, and they settled when they saw what we did to it. And frankly, if we didn't do that, they would have had a lot of ammunition to keep going. They wouldn't have settled. Somebody brought that up, and 2 Iranians went down to see it, and they called back and they said, this place is gone. So it's just fake news by CNN, which has got no ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from CNN, by the way? Because you're a really disgraceful network.
Anyone here from CNN?
No ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from CNN, by the way? Because you're a really disgraceful network. MSNBC, I think, is actually worse. But they're all pretty bad.
They are.
The news is good, Katie, I'll tell you.
MSNBC is worse than CNN.
You know what Marco reminded me that he did such a nice job there? It was 9 years ago I had to debate this guy. He was not easy. I think he even got better. But when you were into your little thing, I said, this is when I had to debate this guy. You think it's easy to debate? It's not easy.
How long do you think that the Iranian nuclear program has been put back?
Hell nah. I ain't leaving this state. No need.
Years.
Appreciate you, though.
I think basically decades, because I don't think they'll ever do it again. I just don't think I think they're going to take their oil. They're going to have some missiles, and they'll have some defense. I think they've had it. I mean, they just went through hell. I think they've had it. The last thing they want to do is enrich. They've been trying to do it. By the way, it's hard to enrich. And, you know, when you look at a site like that, very, very hard to build. Very, very hard, very expensive. They spent trillions of dollars trying to do this thing, and they didn't come up with it. And we're actually getting along with them very well right now. But had we not succeeded with that hit ended the war. That hit ended the war. I don't want to use an example of Hiroshima. I don't want to use an example of Nagasaki. But that was essentially the same thing. That ended that war. This ended that with a war. If we didn't take that out, they'd be fighting right now.
Yes, sir. What's up, Brother Hank? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
If the Iranians do rebuild, would the United States,
If they rebuild?
would the United States strike again? And I have
Sure.
another question about
But I'm not going to have to worry about that. It's gone for years. Very tough to rebuild because the whole thing has collapsed. In other words, inside, it's all collapsed. Nobody can get into.
You got to love, by the way, I'm just looking over here of these live protests against NATO summit that are happening over there in the Netherlands. Look at all these protesters sitting on the street. Sitting. Oh, is it hot outside?
See it because it's collapsed. You can't go in to see a room that has, 10 million tons of rock in it. And the tunnels are totally collapsed.
But they rebuild.
Well, they've already looked at the tunnels. This was
They're surrounded by cops, though. That's interesting. I'm just watching.
Unbelievable hit by genius pilots and genius people in the military, and they're not being given credit for it because we have scum that's in this group, and not all of you are. You have some great reporters, but you have scum. CNN is scum. MSDNC is scum. The New York Times is scum. They're bad people. They're sick. And what they've done is they're trying to make this unbelievable victory into something less. Now, even they admit that it was hit very hard, okay? But it wasn't hit hard. It was hit brutally, and it knocked it out. The original word that I use, I guess it got us in trouble because it's a strong word. It was obliteration. And you'll see that. And it's going to come out. Israel is doing a report on it now, I understand. And I was told that they said it was total obliteration. They have guys that go in there after the hit, and they said it was total obliteration. And, I don't want it for me. I want it for the pilots. I want it for the military. They did such a good job. If you were in the Situation Room with me, with the generals and all of the people that did such a good job, and then they get demeaned by these idiots at CNN who can't get ratings, the place is dying. Nobody wants to even waste their time going on their shows. So they form with the New York Times, who's dying also. Without Trump, you wouldn't have a New York Times.
And then just changing gears to your meeting with Zelensky later today. Can you give us any preview of what the two of you might be discussing?
No, well, we'll discuss the obvious. We'll discuss his difficulties. He's got a little difficulty. Zelensky, the nice guy. I mean, I'm going to meet him today. I don't know. I assume we're going to be discussing Ukraine.
Yes.
And it seems like
Is there any restart talks there or anything that you might do?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, I've spoken to Putin a lot, and he actually was very nice. He volunteered help on, as you know, on Iran. I said, no, I don't need help on Iran. I need help on Russia. Okay. I said, do me a favor. Help us on Russia, not on Iran. But he was very nice. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk. I think progress is being made. I think great progress is being made on Gaza. I think because of this attack that we made, I think we're going to have some very good news. I was talking to Steve Witkoff, who, by the way, is terrific, and who knows more about this subject than anybody, the subject of what we were just talking about. He was on last night with Jesse and with Laura and with Sean. And boy, Susie has a great take on it. He just explains it so easily. He's really very knowledgeable. But he did tell me that Gaza is very close.
Mr. President, one follow-up on Iran. Both you and Secretary Rubio and Hexed mentioned the lead. But can you clarify, is the intelligence correct or is the intelligence wrong?
Well, the intelligence was very inconclusive. Okay. The intelligence says we don't know. It could have been very severe. That's what the intelligence says. So I guess that's correct. But I think we can take that we don't know. It was very severe. It was obliteration. And you think that a media outlet would say, isn't that a great thing? I mean, more importantly for the pilots, for the military, you take their guts out. You take their absolute guts out. They had a tremendous attack. It was a complete obliteration. The other team, the other group, Iran, said, let's stop this. And you know what? Israel said it too. Very smart. They fought like hell, and then they said, let's stop. And they're going to build themselves. And I really see it as sticking. I mean, we may do papers on it, Marco. Maybe we're going to do papers. I don't even know if you need them. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it.
It's almost over.
They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easy to stop them.
Then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
I think you have to join the house.
Yes, we're going to join some other group. Yes, thank you. Katie, one
last question. Do you believe
she's so good.
Thank you, Mr. President.
She used to be very difficult. But now
do you believe that this strike on the Iranian nuclear program will lead to the release of the hostages in Gaza?
I think that it helped a little bit. It showed a lot of power. Yeah, I think it helped, but we're going to get separately, even before this, we were very close to making a deal on Gaza. I think this helped, yes. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
So real quick, I want to see what this is all about. I see this here. It looks like it's from the exact same summit. Let's go ahead and pull this up, but I I haven't seen this. We haven't seen this, and it's a short little ordeal. This came out just an hour ago. It's 3 minutes long. We'll go ahead and play this real quick on playback. We'll bring it back up a little bit. There we go.
Thank you. Deborah Hayes from Sky News.
Hi.
Hello.
Now, this is NATO chief questioned on praise after Iran strikes. Quote, Daddy Trump. What is that?
Language that you have used when talking to Donald Trump has been notable because of its flattery. Today you called him Daddy, and you sent a text message to him that was gushing with praise. Is this the way that you feel you have to act when doing business with the US president, through flattery and praise? Isn't it a bit demeaning, and doesn't it make you look weak?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a bit of a question of taste.
Yeah, he's close to the Gaza border, and they were just dealing with that rain of Iranian, missiles, obviously, like you know. But he has let me know that there has been activity going on over there, but he is doing all right. And but yeah, I guess there is still activity going on over there as we speak.
But I think he's a good friend. And when he is doing stuff which is forcing us to, for example, when it comes to making more investments. I mean, would you ever think that this would be the result of this summit if he would not have been re-elected president? Do you really think that 7 or 8 countries who said, yeah, somewhere in the 2030s we might meet the 2%, we've now all decided in the last 4 or 5 months to get to 2%? So doesn't he deserve some praise? And when it comes to Iran, the fact that he took this decisive action, very targeted, to make sure that Iran would not be able to get its hands on a nuclear capability, I think he deserves all the praise.
All right, let's come to the center section now. I see CNN in the 4th row.
Thank you so much. I want to follow up on what you just said about the strikes in Iran, but first, can I ask you on Article 5, do you believe that Article 5 is subject to interpretation?
Well, Article 5 is absolutely clear. And at the same time, we have always said we will never go into details when exactly Article 5 will be triggered. And why not? Because we don't want to make our adversaries any wiser.
And to follow up on Iran, sir, you just praised the U.S. strikes in Iran, saying that you do believe it will help prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. There have been questions about where that highly enriched uranium is and if Iran moved it before the United States struck on Saturday night. Do you have concerns about that and whether or not it poses a threat to NATO?
Look what happened last weekend. American B-2s, nobody in the world is able to do this. Only the United States. You are 25% of the world economy. You are by far the biggest military power in the world. Only the United States is capable to do this. So the B-2s, the fantastic pilots in those fighter jets, the bombs which were used to get deep into these nuclear facilities in Iran, nobody has that type of stuff. And history made you the leader. History made you the ones who have to take action when it is necessary. And I think what President Trump did here is take a very targeted, chirurgical operation to take out as much as possible Iran's capability to get to a nuclear weapon. And I commend him for that. And obviously it's now up to all the studies being done and all the details look into what exactly has been the effect of this. But I'm personally very optimistic that this has dealt a massive blow to Iran.
And this is the very last thing that we're going to be playing here real quick.
Has been the effect of this.
This is breaking as of 2 hours ago. This was during this exact press. Real quick, I'm not even going to play the whole thing, but it is Trump speaking over there at NATO, and I guess they agreed to mutually increase defense spending.
Turning now to some breaking news as we continue to follow all of the developments out of the NATO summit in the Netherlands. Taking a look here at a post from the Associated Press, it says breaking: NATO leaders agreed on a massive hike in defense spending after pressure from President Trump. I want to bring us out to some images that we had earlier on today. This was President Trump meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte early on this Wednesday. And the Associated Press here saying that NATO leaders agreed Wednesday on a massive hike in defense spending after pressure from President Trump and expressed their quote, ironclad commitment to come to each other's aid if attacked. The 32 leaders endorsed a final summit statement saying, quote, allies commit to invest 5% of GDP annually on core defense requirements, as well as defense and security related spending by 20.
And they can't even get up to the standard that they're supposed to be at now. Everyone's like underpaying, except for like 3 countries, including the United States.
35 to ensure our individual and collective obligations. Spain had already officially announced that it cannot meet the target, and others have voiced reservations. But the investment pledge includes a review of spending in 2029 to monitor progress and reassess the security threat posed by Russia. The leaders also underlined their ironclad commitment to NATO's collective security guarantee, saying, quote, that an attack on one is an attack on all. Ahead of the summit, President Trump had again raised doubts over whether the United States would defend its allies. But there we did just want to bring that breaking news again, heading back out to this post from the AP that NATO leaders have agreed on a massive hike in
She is sleeping right now. I think she's under the couch.
defense spending after that pressure from the U.S. president. We are expecting to have some more live commentary from the president.
Nope. That is all we needed right there to be up to date. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be raiding our buddy Glenn Lawrence. So make sure you guys stick around for the raid. We always got to show a little love to our people. You know what I mean? Make sure you guys let them know we're coming in thick with the Mike Ball raid. Also, make sure you guys follow me on my Instagram right here. Boom. For all the breaking news that's going on within the United States, as well as overseas over there in the Middle East. I'm very on top of it, including Russia, Ukraine as well. So make sure you guys follow me over there for all of that kind of fun breaking news stuff, as always. And until I guess tonight, we're going to be on live tonight with the Diamond Effect, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And listen, if I don't see you guys tonight, then I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. But until then, God bless everyone, and we'll see you guys very soon. Much love, honor, and respect to everybody, and we'll see you guys, hopefully tonight. But if not, tomorrow. Much love to everyone. Peace. Hit it. Shit, lag. There we go.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning.